Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews. And before we get into anything else, for those who are celebrating this, happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you have a brilliant time with your loved ones and your friends and plenty of eating and being thankful for. So we had this early release compared to the usual at the moment for the manga for Weekly Shonen Jump Scanlation. I didn't get around to do it yesterday, but I'm here today with Black Clover 135. Anyway, before that, I know I didn't do the Black Clover episode this week. It was mostly filler, and I will do a catch-up video next week. Anyway, without further ado, let's go into this review. So, what I would like to do is kind of go through essentially the chain of commands or the chain of actions that happen through this chapter. I have a few questions that I wanted to put out there just to get your thoughts on it. Will get you thinking, but I'll get to that at the end because I want to get some speculation in and some theory. So let's talk about what happened. So they talk about this base. It's essentially this kind of belt of rock, and it's normally hard to find because it's surrounded by mist. But Mr. Leader of the Silver Eagles sent a search party to find it. He was really determined to find this place, but he plays it down very nonchalantly and says, "Oh, we were just searching for a dungeon and we happened to come across this." Question mark. Hold on to that one for a second. So chapter moves on and we get to see that special magic, that radar magic that I was talking about, or that's been briefly mentioned with that character that's part of the crew. He creates this whole thing and we see the maze that's inside the dungeon and plus blips of where magic powers are. So Melodiona mentions that there's people scattered around that are top class magicians. So I would assume that would basically be higher level magicians, because I think in my mind, if you think back to the underwater dungeon or the underwater temple, at that time the people that were involved were middle class, so not lower, middle or intermediate class magician level people. So this is that next level to show their growth, and I feel that these will be that vice captain-ish area level. Of course, there's a big range, and obviously these might be lower vice captain class individuals, and then everyone starts separating into teams. We get to see, I think one of the best parts was Meliona's interaction with Zora and Asta, and Asta's like, "Yeah, Zora, sorry, look," he goes, "Here, here's my book, meet him." And he's like, "No, you can have him back yourself." And in the back of her mind, she's saying, "So these are the ones that Yami chose. Hold on to that as well." So and then we get this idea that basically they're just going to go crazy, they're going to rampage in there. And I like the idea of that, but it asks a few questions. Hold on to that thought. And where there's chaos, there's opportunity. There's 5 teams, everyone goes through. And towards the end of it, we see this kind of nice parallel where Silver's doing his thing. Solido, Nozel? One of the Silvers, Nozel I believe his name is, and Melodiona, and they're basically attacking the enemies. And it's like a nice parallel. They're both doing it for the same people. Same person, sorry, but essentially the kind of parallels going across the screen. And it's like, for my rival, for my idiot younger brother, and they want their own versions of revenge because of those reasons. Now, right at the end, we get this thing where Laya wakes up and his third eye awakens, and it's like, scary times. Bearing in mind, everyone else that's had the third eye has been at least above captain level. We'll get to see how this really plays out. Melodiona versus Laya, Silver versus Laya. This is all going to play out nicely. There's got so many questions, and let's get into it now. So that's basically the chapter. That's what all encompasses in this chapter, but there's a lot of questions there that I wanted to touch on, and here's my theory crafting that's going to get thrown in at the end. Okay, so here we go. So the first thing, this base is supposed to be hard to find and it's covered by mist, but somehow Silver found it. He just happened to run across it. He was looking for a dungeon apparently. Now this could be purely down to the fact that it was lucky, or maybe he's playing it down, but it's coincidental that all these other things have been happening and they just happen to find it now at the right opportune time. At the same time, we can also look at it from a different point of view. They may have already known of it for a while, but just happen to take advantage of it now once they've got the selection done, exam done. So that's the first thing. The second thing for me is the fact that Melaniona mentioned that there was this big one person in the middle, and that was like must be the leader, right? I thought licked or liked was the leader. Wouldn't there be two powers there? There would be liars, and there would be likes. So that made me think: is one of them not there? But by the looks of it, we saw liar. Is he at the base, or is liked at the base? Why is there only one? I'm interested to find out what that's about. So that was the first. That's kind of a little bit of tidbit that I thought about. The other thing to think about with this is with the interaction between Zora, Asta, and Leona. She mentions, "Oh, Yami chose these people." Did that mean that other captains chose some people as well from each squad? Or was it just something that he specifically said, take these people as well, and he holds them in high regard? Because to be fair, they did pretty well. They got to the semi-finals, and most other people did get there. So was it really something that he said specifically that made them want to take him because Yami said so? Or was it just like, yeah, we were going to take them anyway type of thing? So it's an interesting kind of the fact that she specifically mentioned, oh yeah, these are the ones that Yami chose. Or did she mean chose to be on his squad? It's not really clear, but it's just interesting that she's mentioned it. It didn't have to be mentioned, but it gives you a little bit to think about. Is there respect there, or is there more than meets the eye between the relationship between Yami and Melaniona? Anyway, next point to kind of think about: chaos and opportunity. Now we see at the end of the chapter that Lyle basically activates his third eye, and as we know, we can see that he can mimic people's ability, and he's basically a master of disguise. So with chaos, with this opportunity for confusion, to take advantage of these opportunities, what's not to say Liar takes these opportunities to work against them, because they're kind of all rampaging everywhere. They're all separate. What's not to say he goes and takes them out one by one, pretending to be a friend, kind of like taking out people, behind enemy lines type of thing. So he might not be Silver, for example, in front of Silver, but it might take out one of Silver's cronies and say, yeah, I'm him, don't worry about me, I'm your friend, and then betray Silver. Or he might come around and Silver runs into Melaniona. You know what I mean? That confusion, especially with everything going all out and they're just rampaging, all they've got to do is beat people, leaves so many possibilities for plot twists and turns and betrayals. And like I said before, it's kind of convenient they found them. Are there people that are in this crew that have come to do this thing really the betrayers? There's so many possibilities here. Now, another thing I want to talk about, and this is kind of part of the theory crafting part of it, is the third eye itself. Every time we've seen the third eye, it's kind of appeared, I mean, aside from Vet seems to be probably the most kind of natural, but the rest of them seem to be kind of like add-ons, kind of like a power boost. Like for example, we saw Liars, and it kind of seemed like a mana type of thing. So is this whole memories or this mana, this magic, just something that's been imprinted or kind of injected into these people to make them behave in a certain way? Remember I touched on this child that's supposed to have been born last time around. Maybe this is an ability of that person, and maybe, just maybe, that one person that you saw in there was that person. Another thing to think about with this, Light is supposed to be the leader back in the day, but now he's been sealed. Why has he been sealed now? And if he's meant to be the leader, who sealed in the third eye? I know they try to reseal him now, but essentially, who did that first? So there's these questions that really need to be answered that we don't have answers, we just have more questions. So it really leaves you at an exciting point in the story, and I really like to find out more. So that's my thoughts, they're my theories, they're my little things to think about. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Especially comment. I really like that part of providing this content, because it really gets conversations going and theories going, and we get to see like-minded individuals. So please feel free to comment in the section below, and I'll see you next time. Peace.